Sorry students, I was not able to continue in the former video because of some technical problem. Again, I am continuing the chapter. Let's move to liberty. See, what is the meaning of liberty? Liberty simply means freedom. See, freedom is very important requirement as a every one of us, every individuals, they need freedom, and freedom is required as a basic nature. It is a basic nature of human being, because without proper freedom they cannot develop themselves. So for proper growth and development of one's personality, this freedom is very much required. Now, according to our preamble, there is a liberty of thought and expression, belief, faith, and worship. See, what is the meaning of this freedom of thought and expression? Suppose in India we are living, and suppose if we are not satisfied with the working or with the way the government is functioning, we are free to criticize them, and you all are aware of that. If you are not satisfied with the functioning of the government, you can express your views. There is no objection, but it should be in proper manner. See, freedom doesn't mean absolute freedom, and absolute freedom is not good for any society, any healthy society especially, because absolute freedom means you are free to do whatever you want to do, whatever you like. And that, suppose if you have the freedom, so you should use your freedom in such a way that it doesn't hurt somebody's sentiment. Suppose I am giving you example to clarify my point. You have the freedom to worship, to practice your own religion, and you are doing that also. But on the other hand, what you are doing, the other person living nearby you is practicing some other religion. You are criticizing his religion, you are criticizing his practices of worship. So that is not good. Don't hurt the sentiments of someone. Okay, so absolute freedom, there is no concept of absolute freedom in our country. Now, we have freedom of faith and worship. We can practice any religion we want to. And you are, even suppose if you are born as a Hindu, and if you want to get converted to other religion, you are free to do that. Even your Bhimrao Ambedkar, who is known as the father of Indian constitution, he was born as a Hindu, but in latter phase of his life he adopted Buddhism. So we have this freedom, and this freedom is very much important also. Now, equality. See, what is the meaning of equality? See, equality simply means the absence of privileges or discrimination against any section of the society. The preamble provides the equality of status and opportunity to every citizen of the country. Even our constitution strives to provide social, economic, and political equality in the country. So now next move to fraternity. Now, what is the meaning of this fraternity? See, fraternity simply means a sense of brotherhood, and it is very crucial for a diverse country like India, because already you know that in India there are people of different faith, different religion, caste, creed, and different backgrounds. So ultimately, this fraternity is very important for the smooth functioning of the society as well as the nation. Now next come to fundamental rights. See, there are some certain rights which are provided by our constitution, which are known as basic rights. See, fundamental rights are very essential rights which are provided to the common man, to the citizens of the country. And why these basic rights, or why these fundamental rights are given to the people? What was the aim behind it? Sorry students, means these fundamental rights are very essential, because without these fundamental rights, as a citizen, we cannot play our role properly. We cannot contribute in the development of the nation and the society. So there are certain basic rights which are given by the constitution for the proper development of the individuals, so that they can contribute in the growth and development of the country. And there are 6 fundamental rights which are provided by our constitution. These rights are right to freedom, right to equality, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, right to constitutional remedies, and cultural and educational rights. Okay, so there are 6 rights provided by our constitution. All these rights are fundamental rights. I have mentioned you why. And see, these rights are enforceable by the court. That's why they are known as these fundamental rights are, suppose if they are violated, we have the right given by the constitution that we can directly move to the court. So in case of fundamental rights, they can be called as justiciable rights. And what is the meaning of these? Simply, if the rights are hampered, if these rights are hampered, or if these rights are violated, we can directly move to the court for its enforcement. Okay? Now first one is your right to equality. See, here right to equality simply signifies the equality before law, means everyone in the country is equal before the eyes of law. We are having rule of law, and this rule of law has been taken from the Constitution of England. It simply signifies that whether the president or the common man, if they are committing a crime, both can be punished by the law, because both are equal before the eyes of law. There is no discrimination. Okay, so it doesn't matter who is doing the crime. If crime is proved, it doesn't mean if you are a president or if you are a barber. If your crime is proved, you have to face the punishment. Next one is prohibition of discrimination against any citizen on the basis of a caste, color, creed or sex. See, as a citizen, everyone have the equality in the country. Nobody can discriminate against the people on the basis of sex or caste. Suppose if there is a woman and a man working in the same field, having both are equally possessing the job criteria, having the equal qualifications and all the things, but then also a woman is paid less in comparison of the male counterpart. Why? Because she is a woman. So ultimately it is a kind of discrimination. So these kind of discrimination you cannot practice in India, because we have right to equality. Okay, now next one is your equality of opportunity. Equality of opportunity simply means every citizen will have the opportunity regarding the appointment or employment under the state. Okay, so in terms of employment or appointment, every citizen has the same opportunity. Nobody will be discriminated on any basis. Okay, see, in India from time to time, to promote equality, various steps have been taken by the government. And see, these are the ideals which has to be promoted and carried out by the government, because without equality, without justice, without freedom, you cannot have a developed or healthy society. So here also you will see that suppose removal of untouchability from the society, it has been you cannot practice untouchability in the society. It has been banned by the government, and if anybody is found practicing it, you can be punished by the law. Now even to promote civic equality, what the government has done, it has put an end to the provision of providing titles to the people like Rai Bahadur, knighthood, etc., because it promotes inequality. And lastly, it is your right to practice or carry any profession or any business or trade. Okay, so already I have mentioned you that right has been given to us, and there are many rights given to us There are freedoms in different areas, but at the same time I have given you the concept of absolute freedom. We don't have the freedom to do anything whatever we want to do. We cannot go for that. We have to always remember that we, while practicing our freedom, while enjoying ourselves, we should not hurt someone. Okay, we should not hurt somebody's sentiments. See, right against exploitation, it's very important. See, because in India you will see since a long time there is a exploitation, and any society which have presence of exploitation, it cannot claim itself to be a developed one. So ultimately there is right against exploitation for forced labor or even beggary, or the employment of the children under the age of 14 years. In India it is strictly prohibited that in any you cannot employ a child who is below 14 years of age. Although practically if we see, there are still many there are still some small children who are working and they are underpaid. See, the most important thing that they are working hard but they are underpaid for their work. So this is a kind of exploitation, because they are small children, they cannot raise their voice, they don't know the law. So people underestimate them, and what they do, they take undue advantage, and this creates exploitation in the society, which is not good or healthy for any democratic society. See, in India we have right to freedom of religion. And what is this right to freedom of religion? You can practice any religion, whatever you are free to practice the religion you want to go for, and there is no objection, there is no interference from the government or anyone. Okay, so as I have mentioned you that in India already you are saying that it is a diverse country. Here you will find the different, all the world's religion, major religions you will find in India, whether that is your Zoroastrianism, whether that is your Jainism, Buddhism, Islam, Hinduism, Sufism. So all these, even from major to minor religions, you will see in India, because we have this right to freedom of religion. Okay, even these religious groups are free to establish and administer they are free to establish and administer their own educational institutions. They are having this freedom. They can set up their institutions to promote their religion, to promote their beliefs, but that should not hamper some others' belief. It should be kept in mind. Now come to cultural and educational rights. According to these rights, all the religious and linguistic communities of India, they are free to preserve their distinct culture, language and script. So in India, there, as I have mentioned you, there are many minorities also living in this country. So this right has been incorporated in the constitution with the view to safeguard the interest of the minority section. That's why you will see there are some educational institutions, universities like your Aligarh Muslim University, St. Xavier College, which are free from control. They are free to run their institutions, and there is no interference by the government in their functioning. Now finally come to right to constitutional remedies. What is the meaning of right to constitutional remedies? I have mentioned you that fundamental rights have great importance when it comes to the development of citizens. And if these fundamentals are not safeguarded and protected by the constitution through constitutional remedies, it has no significance. See, fundamental rights cannot be taken from anyone, because as I have mentioned you earlier also, that if they are violated or hampered by any institution or an individual, the person can move directly to the court for its enforcement. So this is called constitutional remedies, and it is thus to protect the fundamental rights of the citizens. So finally I am concluding the chapter. You have seen what is constitution, what is its need and utility. You have also seen the different features of the constitution. whether that is your division of power, federalism, or whether that is your the fundamental rights. And also I have mentioned you about the goals and ideals which has to be achieved by the government. So finally we can sum up the chapter that constitution is very vital, and it is a living document. As it why I'm using the living one, because see, after so many years of its framing, still we have the power to amend this. Suppose there are many changes which are produced in the constitution. There are certain rights, or there are certain laws which are not relevant, so they can be removed. They are removed from time to time. So our constitution is playing a very vital role in promoting the different ideals and in establishing a democratic society where there is justice, equality, and freedom in every aspect. And this is the main aim of a nation, because without equality, justice, and freedom, you cannot have a developed society. You cannot have a you cannot achieve the aims of a you cannot achieve the aims of a developed nation without these, because these ideals are not only the ideals but essentials for the development of the individuals. And without the proper development of the individuals, you cannot expect a proper growth in the national process. So students, thank you. Chapter is over. I am already, if there is already I have mentioned you the chapter. If there is any doubt, mention in the comment. And I'm giving you the question answers homework. Please go through it, revise the topic properly, and let's hope for the best, and just pray to the God for your safety and healthy. And please